Good evening. I am your host, Jason Miles, here for another episode of This is Revolution Podcast. If you're new to the channel, welcome. So glad to have you here. Excuse me. If you do like what we're doing, please hit like and subscribe. It is a passive gesture that goes a long way in promoting the channel. If you are a returning listener, subscriber, or one of our very valued patrons, so glad to have you guys back. If you would like to become part of the TIR Patreon crew, join us for our movie nights and exclusive champagne rooms. Well, there are a couple of easy ways you can become a patron or a paid YouTube subscriber. Your donation makes sure that TIR can continue to stay on air and bring programming such as this. $3 a month or a one-time payment of $30 for the year is all that it takes. And trust me, it's worth that. Now, let's get to why you people came here in the first place. Leftist television stations? Two visionary builders of what might be the most exciting media experiment on the left right now. Long before Means TV became a home for hundreds of left-leaning creators, including my own video essays, Nick Hayes and Naomi Burton were independent filmmakers and organizers in Detroit's media scene. In 2018, they broke through to wider attention when a viral campaign video for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, which helped set the stage for something far bigger. Right as the world was about to be altered by the pandemic, and as the internet was being flooded with influencer-driven content, Nick and Naomi took a chance on themselves. They asked a bold question: what would a broadcasting platform look like if it were built not for profit, but for people and for the left? And what if it didn't just cover news, but made culture, from documentaries and comedies to animation and children's television, from a radically different set of values? That question gave birth to Means TV, a worker-owned post-capitalist streaming cooperative that rejects venture capital and advertising, is funded entirely by its viewers, and exists to center creators and audiences typically ignored by mainstream media. Today, Means TV is more than just a niche platform. It's a gathering point for left creatives, a space where independent YouTubers, filmmakers, comedians, podcasters, and multimedia artists come together under a cooperative model that shares power and revenue more equitably. But this project didn't come from nowhere, and it's still standing. Jesus, so sorry. How did they build this platform? What lessons did they learn along the way? Where do they see Means TV going next? And how do they envision the future of left creative infrastructure? Please welcome one of the main founders of Means TV, Mr. Nick Hayes.
Yo, what's up? That was a very nice intro. Wow.
Well, I mean, you deserve it. So I was
Thank
just
you,
gonna,
dude.
This is Nick. No. You guys mean a lot to me because you took a chance on me and host my video essays. And as you know, with the show and writing, I'm behind on releasing episode 2 of Kayfabe.
It's okay. You're not the only person. You know, it happens.
But if it makes you feel any better, when I was writing the script for episode 2, that's when Current Affairs hit me up to write the article on Trump. So, like, God damn it. But Means TV didn't emerge from traditional media pipelines. Can you take us back to the moment when the idea first crystallized? What problem were you trying to solve that existing left media simply wasn't addressing, in your opinion?
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, like I worked in commercial film for a while and was like a producer and director and filmmaker, and I just couldn't sell anybody anything. Like I felt like I had objectively strong pitches for projects that were cool and interesting, or, you know, they should buy, but I was interested in like political economy and like the kind of the cultural movement and stuff that was going on in the left, like sort of in that 2015, 2016 time period. And I just felt, yeah, like I kept banging my head against this wall, drafting pitches, sending things to people, not getting any responses.
Were you still in Detroit, or were you in New York at this point?
Yeah, this was while I was in Detroit. And yeah, me and Naomi met doing socialist organizing stuff, and I was working in commercial film at the time. She was working in marketing, and so we realized that we were both like kind of leads on these different aspects of these marketing campaigns for these big companies. And we were like, man, we don't want to have to keep doing that. And so like, how can we do that for the left or in a way that advances our values? And so we started Means of Production, which was a production company to do work for unions and nonprofits. And we did that for a while in Detroit. And then we did the video, for AOC, and that popped. And kind of after the media frenzy surrounding that campaign, we did a few more videos, but we were very quickly realizing that we were going to not be able to pay the bills doing this kind of work. And we needed to pivot. And I wanted to do more work in entertainment. And I had a feeling that there was lots of other filmmakers who were frustrated with trying to get projects going or financed or distributed. Mm-hmm. And so we put like 30 grand of basically the rest of the money we'd saved up doing Means of Production into a crowdfunding campaign for Means TV to launch a cooperative streaming service.
And this is 2020? Or is it still like 2015?
This was 2019.
So right before the pandemic.
Yeah. Yep.
It's interesting that I don't know if you read the article that came out, if it came across your timeline or whatever, called Lost Generations, that Compact released a few months ago, I guess now, where this cat said, he's a white cat. He was like, 2010s, I couldn't get any work because it all went to diversity hires. And that's why I have to scalp tickets. And I couldn't be a writer in Hollywood and all this other stuff because all the diversity hires were getting to work, and Gen X white men were gatekeeping the jobs. It sounds like that wasn't even a problem for you during this time, that it was more of you just wanting to get your project done, and nothing was going to stop you guys from getting that project done. Do you ever hear stories like that, or that doesn't really circulate in your
I mean, working in film and TV or working in media is very competitive. It's like a lot of people want to do it. I went to a film trade school that was like a 1-year program. I got kicked out after 3 months because I wasn't going to class enough or whatever, but it was a good program. It was like a Michigan program, and it was very focused on training you like how to work in, be a grip or a gaffer or whatever, in the same way you would have a trade or vocational school for like welding or pipe fitting or something. And it's just a very competitive industry. I think of the like 100 people that were in that year of school with me, mm-hmm. I know of probably 10 who are actively still working, in the industry. And it's also just like, I think that working in media, in film and TV and commercial stuff specifically, is like it's something a lot of people are passionate about from a young age, and then they graduate high school or they graduate college and they're really excited and passionate about working in this industry, and then they get on a few sets, maybe as a PA or as an intern or some low level position, and you realized like how much it sucks and that it's like pretty grueling.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was my experience, was like working on some big sets and just being like, this seems like miserable. Like the working conditions are absurd. Like you're working 16-hour days, 6 days a week, and your turnarounds sometimes are like 6 or 8 hours. And I mean, there's all sorts of documentaries and journalism that's been done about film and TV crew members like driving home at the end of a really long shoot day and driving off the road and dying. And so, yeah, I think that was also part of it, was like this realization that if this is what it means to work in film and TV, then I don't know if I want to, do this. Like substance abuse is a rampant problem, in that type of working lifestyle. You see people having to make that decision of like doing this job that they're passionate about or being present for their family. Like the divorce rates are really high. So yeah, as like a young person going into that work, it was a little eye-opening. And that's why a lot of people gravitate towards working on like commercials, because commercials are typically more cushy.
Mm-hmm.
You're working probably less hours. But then you're doing straight up the devil's bidding. Like I can't tell you how many like insurance commercials I've shot with like fathers and sons playing catch. And like, you're just doing like emotional warfare on people.
Oof.
So yeah, I mean, I was trying to find some way out of this dynamic. Like this is the only thing I'm good at and had the skills for. There's no money in like being an independent filmmaker. There's not really the distribution models. Like I tried working with PBS and it's like, there's not a lot of money there. And so yeah, it felt increasingly like I had to carve out something for myself, like to be able to have a job in this industry. And ideally that was something that offered something to others too.
You frame means as post-capitalist and not just left-leaning. What does that distinction mean to you in practice, not rhetorically, but like structurally?
So structurally, post-capitalist like is trying to have the infrastructure and organization that we would want to see in a world where we aren't living under capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the cooperative framework and trying to like model what worker ownership looks like in this type of business, and what, like how to grapple with the realities of existing as a business that has an obligation to deliver a product or service to people, because we do, and also give people that are involved with the project like a real sense of ownership and a real say in how things are done and decided. And then how are you going to distribute the bounty of that project amongst people in a way that feels equitable? So that was the kind of post-capitalist idea in terms of our like actual organizational structure. And it also just sucks that it's like you never want to be, I mean, obviously we're anti-capitalist and you're anti-capitalist, but I think that being a very like front and center thing, saying to people, can sometimes feel like you're being like a dick or something, like a jerk, because you're like anti whatever. And so trying to reframe that a little bit as like, maybe instead of us being against something,
what are you for?
Right. What are we for? Yeah.
Someone put a good question in the chat. They want to know your origin story. Was working on commercials one of the things that kind of radicalized you, or were you radicalized before you were even getting into that line of work?
My origin story was like just being, I graduated high school early and then started like working as like a Craigslist intern on any like remotely film type job I could get.
And there's a lot of shoots in Michigan?
Less and less, but yes. I mean, there used to be a a tax
I was
incentive
going to
in
say,
Michigan.
it's a tax incentive town. Yeah.
Yeah, but then Governor Snyder got rid of that right after a bunch of like infrastructure had been built out, and that pretty much like gutted the entertainment industry here. But so a lot of the commercial work is for auto companies and Blue Cross Blue Shield, and increasingly auto companies, like they're shooting all of their really high budget stuff with marketing companies in LA or in Canada. Like that used to be stuff that was shot here. That there's big marketing and PR agencies in Michigan that are increasingly kind of fighting over less and less work that's going on. So yeah, I mean, I was like doing commercials and stuff. I was like 18 or 19, just living on my own, trying to move up the ladder in commercial film. And then I started getting really into like left-wing podcasts that were coming out at the time, like Street Fight Radio and Chapo Trap House. And I remember like listening to the early episodes of some of those shows and being like, oh wow, this is making a lot of sense. Like it's helping me as like a 18, 19-year-old contextualize these kind of these things I've been feeling, or kind of, just trying to understand, like it crystallized something. And so I called Brett Payne from Street Fight Radio. I remember like outside of a commercial shoot, I've been trying to get a hold of him. And I was like, let me come film you guys. Like, I don't really know what for or what we'll do with it, but let's do something. And so I went up, and they were going to a weed carnival that was happening at Speedway in Michigan that wound up getting shut down because they didn't like get permits or anything. So
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
we went and I filmed for like a day. I slept in my car in the parking lot. And then I just started following those guys around, like when they would go on tour, and they went to the Juggalo March on the Capitol in Washington, D.C. And I went and filmed that. And then, that was great because they were very much in that scene of like left-wing creators and podcasts. And so through working with them, that allowed me to be introduced to all these other like New York podcasts and different people in the space, and met other filmmakers at that time. And so that was like, I was kind of like the video guy or one of the video guys in that like early left-wing podcast scene. And so that was like a good touch point for the kind of stuff that I liked and the kind of media I wanted to create. And that helped to launch this entertainment platform because like I was already a known I was known to these people.
How much of the mean stuff that's out now do you actually shoot, or is it all independent people outside of you?
So there's a lot of content on means. So it's like, I would say, I mean, we have like, I think 14 or 15 independent, we refer to them as independent creators, like people like yourself who have a YouTube channel and make their own content. And we have no like editorial oversight on that work. And we do produce some shows ourselves. We also license films from distributors or directly from filmmakers. So there's a lot of our content that's that sort of stuff. But we do invest in and produce a lot of original content. I am less and less somebody who's like shooting, like filming it myself. I was kind of at like maybe around the time that we started Means TV, I was realizing that like I was better as a producer and kind of someone to be there to help kind of guide someone else's project and like help them execute their vision versus filming something myself. Like there are much better DPs, there are much better directors and writers than me, but I am good at like looking at a project, knowing what it's going to take to do every step and talking through like a narrative arc for a season of content, or for a documentary, like watching down edits and giving the filmmaker notes. And so now I kind of act more as like the traditional like kind of studio producer role, where I'm trying to help provide structure to finish and execute a project. And we try to be like a creative partner with filmmakers we work with and with projects we finance to make it better and align with their vision. And the way we try to do that differently than maybe a big studio or whatever is they get to make the decision at the end of the day, unless it's something where it's like they're trying to do something really fucked up. Then maybe we're like,
you're like, no,
no,
you can't do that. No.
Yeah, but in terms of like the creative, like I'll give my thoughts. I'll try to convince you of why I'm right.
Mhm.
But if you disagree, do whatever you want. And so, yeah, that's more my role now. Like I work a lot in terms of our content development stuff.
How many I told you so's have you had so far? Not too many.
I don't know. I mean, not too many. No. And I would say it's definitely equal. There's plenty of times where I've been like, this is the way to go. And then I get proven wrong. But I've got a nice little bit of experience now where I can I can forecast my own mistakes a bit.
Okay.
And I can forecast other people's mistakes and try to like intervene.
Is that the old man wisdom, the old man clairvoyance, the dad clairvoyance, if you will.
Sure.
A lot of left media gets trapped in like a permanent reaction mode, news, critique, discourse. Why is it important for Means to invest in actually culture making? You guys have some comedy shows, animation. Of course, you have tons of documentaries. And what blew my mind the most was the children's programming.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's like that was the promise of Means TV originally, was that we wanted to be an entertainment platform, and to be an entertainment platform means people have to like enjoy sitting and watching some of the content. You know, it's important to have like it's good and important to have like really educational stuff or like deep dive content, and but not everybody, I would say even probably most people, don't want to sit down at the end of working at a hard job all day and like watch something about how fucked up and screwed we are or something. So trying to find projects that incorporate our core values and principles in terms of sharing or empathy or utopian thinking and that kind of stuff, but that doesn't feel like it's hitting you over the head with it, and that is creative and fun, is important. And I think kids programming is a really fun way to do that. And like we have 2 different original shows that are very much oriented towards kids, and we're in post-production right now on another original show that's a puppet show that is for kids, and I think it's turning out super cool. And so I think the kids stuff is really interesting and fun because you're trying to find stories that are developmentally appropriate. You're working with like people with child education backgrounds or specialists, but then you're also trying to make it compelling and interesting for like the parent who's having to sit and watch it for the 5th or 6th time. And I think that's like a fun challenge, and trying to pass along some of those values we have.
Do you think the left has historically underestimated the importance of entertainment and pleasure? I mean, I do.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's probably there's probably truth to it. I'm kind of like, I give the left a little bit of a break because it's like we don't have any fucking money. Like,
yeah,
it's like it's easy to say, and I'm not saying it's wrong to say, but it's easy to say, yeah, we haven't been doing this thing well, or enough of this or that. But it's like, if you want to start a right-wing streaming service, you don't have to make any money, and you'll get $50 million a year from some, foundation run by shitheads or whatever. And it's like, it's just, they have the money and the ability to do all of this experimentation and throw good money after bad and recalibrate and whatever. And on the left, it's like, it's just much harder to finance projects. And so, yeah, I think it's a combo of both. Like, sure, there's probably more of an emphasis on very serious stuff because we feel like the stakes are so high, but there's no money to do much else too.
Yeah, that's the frustrating part, because then you see, who kind of dominates all aspects of culture. Like, I think, for example, sports are an important part of the world in which we live in. But as well as I do, there's tons of people in our world that don't want to hear it, right? They don't want to hear anything. Oh, I don't like sports ball. It's like, look, man, I'm sorry. A dude in a Letterman jacket threw you in a locker 20 years ago, but everybody, there's a lot of people that watch football that would probably be on your side. You shouldn't be a dick to them. But
yeah, I mean, I like sports. I think it's like people just aren't accustomed to like ESPN and like all of these, like the Pat McAfee show and all this type of stuff. It is political. There is like a political angle on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of like so hegemonic and what we're being fed every single day that people don't really look at it in that light. And so if you try to do something that is in any way subversive related to a topic like sports, there is a real contingent or a real possibility that people perceive it as like you're trying to lecture them or you're virtue signaling or whatever. And so I think the art of it is trying to do that and also not give people the sense that you're trying to tell them what you believe or how they should think about this issue differently or whatever. And that's a real challenge.
I mean, we do a sports show here.
I'm aware.
I think we talked about sports last night for 15 minutes before it devolved into debauchery. But, it I find it, first of all, for me, it's a fun release from the seriousness of what we usually do on this channel. And second of all, I think again, there's, like you said, there's a political aspect to what is discussed on like the Pat McAfee show, which is one of the biggest shows in the country. And when you have a microphone that large and you are saying political things quite often, you become kind of news for a lot of people that have turned off traditional news mediums and they just listen to you. So to talk about that stuff a little more seriously and in depth from a bit of a different angle, I think is quite important, so people can understand why things work the way they do, and it's not always pathology, because most sports punditry is about, he's a cancer in the locker room. Like, what the fuck does that mean? Do I have to believe that every team that was good, they all got along real well? Like, I don't believe that at all. At all. 65 guys all just friends. This ain't a Disney movie. Somebody's gonna suck, right?
I mean, I think that like the shift in terms of like what sports media even is interesting. Like my dad was a Chicago sports writer for like years and years. Before that, he covered sports in the Bay Area. And
what?
It was very interesting to see. I mean, he worked in newspapers, and it's like interesting to see the collapse of the newspaper from that angle of things. And also just the way that sports journalism has changed is it's so much about like your relationships, like being an Adam Schefter, like being an insider who every single person is feeding information to, and it's so much less now about like being a on the ground reporter and like trying to find stories that are maybe bad for management of a team, or like expose something, or talking to a player and that player was maybe less media trained, and so they say something that you can go look into or whatever. And like a lot of the sports media now is very Adam Schefter kind of stuff, where it's just like Adam Schefter's not going to probably tell you some super embarrassing thing that's going on within management, or some financial scandal that's happening within NFL team, because he needs to maintain some level of a relationship with them in order to continue to get like the latest coach hiring information, or, oh, this player got released. And so, yeah, some of that's probably driven by just like the instantaneous nature that's desired from sports journalism and a lot of journalism. But the collapse of newspapers and like their financial structure, and just like losing hundreds of local reporters, certainly isn't great.
Is your dad still around?
Oh yeah, he's around. He doesn't work at a newspaper anymore, but not many people do.
I would love to ask him some questions. How long ago was he in the Bay before you were born?
Till I was like 10. So that would be like probably 2007-ish.
Damn, you said 2007. Makes me feel old. Oh, so you were there for Barry Bonds 74.
I was at some of those games, yeah.
Was he San Francisco? Was he a Chronicle or Examiner guy?
He was at the Contra Costa Times, which was like
you were in the East Bay?
Yeah, I was in Contra Costa County.
Were you in Concord?
I was in Pleasant Hill.
You were.
I don't know much about that area because I was so little.
Damn. Well, I'm from Richmond, California, which is in Contra Costa County. I'm a East Bay guy, but I'm a Giants fan. So that's dope that your dad worked for the Contra Costa Times, which was our paper of record. So I'm sure I read your dad's writing numerous times. So
that's funny.
I'll send you an email for some questions to send over to Pops.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Happy to do it.
I don't know if he gets to talk about his writing days much.
I ask him some questions now and then. I mean, yeah. So he'd be happy to chat with you.
I mean, that's the heyday of not just the Barry Bonds 74, but that's Balco, dude. That's like the whole scandal going down, like all that was happening during that time, and so that's an interesting time to be writing about the Bay Area. But back to your channel. Means TV is a worker-owned cooperative at a time when creator economy usually means isolation, precarity, and algorithm dependence. What has surprised you most about running a cooperative media platform in this new era?
Just the like level of good faith that people have in the cooperative. Like, I think all of us are. I mean, I don't know. I'll speak for myself. I think I was conditioned a little bit to be protective in like I don't know, like I'm putting in a bunch of my own money. I'm trying to start this business. I want it to be cooperative, but I don't have any experience working in a cooperative or know what that is like means in terms of like day to day. And so when we were drafting up the bylaws originally, I probably put in some things that were like not bad or anything, but just like maybe insulated or protected some of it. Like there was like a lot of things that had like a 2-year phase in, because it's like, I don't know what this is going to look like. We're gonna have to figure this out. And almost immediately, as soon as we started having people join the co-op when we first started, like every single person that joined was like a wonderful person to run a cooperative with, and like was genuinely interested and was genuinely trying to like overcome the challenges, that the cooperative would be going through, and was competent and wanted to hear what you thought about things, and also had their own ideas that were oftentimes better. And so pretty quickly it was like, okay, we can get rid of any of these like safeguards. This is really good. This is like helping the cooperative be successful. And so, going from starting out to now, we've been around for 6 years, like, the people on our board of directors who are all cooperative members, or the people who participate in general meetings or working groups, or just are communicating on cooperative channels and stuff. Like everybody's just very smart, very capable, and brings so much value. And to not be a cooperative and to like not hear what people that you're working with have to say about things, or letting them make decisions seems like such a missed opportunity. And I think the other quick thing I'll say is, like, running a small business does kind of suck. And I never wanted to be like a small business owner. And so it's really nice to share the misery and suffering of running a small business with 100 other people who have equal, stake in it and ownership of it. And so it's like, it takes a bunch of that burden off of, like, having to deal with like miserable compliance issues, or navigating different streaming regulations and different whatever. Like, I don't have to just do that now. There's other people who have to at least hear about it, and so yeah, I would just say the helpfulness of people, and how people are, I think, pretty good overall.
The meetings seem to be, we have these, what are they, quarterly? Is it quarterly?
Mm-hmm.
Quarterly meetings are always really interesting to me, because the first thing I do is when I'm looking on the screen, I'm like, oh, that's the guy from the news thing. Or, oh, that's the guy from whatchamacallit. What are the real trade-offs of rejecting venture capital in advertising? I don't think people understand how little one makes from YouTube when you don't have advertisers paying you for like placed advertisements, which can help a little bit. And when you reject that, that's a big one. Did you give yourselves like, okay, we're going to reject it unless they offer us this much money to read these advertisements, and then we'll rethink it and it'll be different? Or is it's in you, it's part of the business model, this is what we're doing, we are not doing any red advertisements on the channel?
Yeah, I think we've just always been like, it's like spiritually evil, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And that, it's not a way to like judge people that like that for a lot of content creator people, like, that is the only way to make a living doing it. And so no judgment. Like, all the spiritually evil does kind of sound like a judgment. I just feel like from working in advertising, it's like emotional terrorism. And like when you watch commercials and stuff, like it's just totally weaponizing shared human experiences in order to sell you products, or like embed the desire for a product in your head. And I think that there's something like very like uncaring and like inhuman about doing that. And I think it's like the kind of Buddhist philosophy stuff of like, do no harm, in like what you do every day or what your job is. And I remember that ringing in my head a lot at the time working in advertising, of just being like, I'm actively exploiting people's, emotional stuff and their needs, and it's very bad. And so, yeah, I just don't have any interest in it. Like, I would rather go, if I couldn't, do filmmaking without the advertising money, I would just probably do something else, like I'd go work in the trades or something. And I've had to do that in the past to like, for different things. But, and then investor money, it's just like the idea of owing people money. I think it's because I don't have like a degree in finance, or like I didn't go to college.
Okay.
Because it seems like it's actually just free money and there's like no accountability. Like, or like, I don't know, like in Silicon Valley, it seems like they're just giving money away. I don't fully understand.
Oh no, you're going to dance for it. You're going to dance.
Yeah, but I would dance for like $10 million, sure. But the idea of then like owing somebody $10 million, I would never sleep, dude. So
yeah, no. How do you? That's the thing about getting, investor money, opposed to, I guess, trying to fundraise, right? What does that investor want in return? Sometimes, how does it just sully your name, right? What if someone gave you money and didn't want anything from it, but they were tied loosely to an organization that you don't even know about, and someone finds out about, now your whole organization is ruined because you took maybe $10,000 from somebody to get one show off the ground.
Yeah, I think you have to be careful. Like I think if somebody was coming around saying like, "Hey, I'm really rich and I have a bunch of money that I feel bad about. Can I like give you $50,000?" I might look at that, and because it's like, okay, I could finance a movie with that and like give a filmmaker,
Mm-hmm.
the budget for a movie. And if there's no strings attached, there's truly no editorial involvement, then it's like, who is this hurting? I think you have to be very transparent about that with your audience. And like, if people don't fuck with that, then it's like, okay, well, it's not worth it. We're not going to, make the whole business upended because this guy wants to give us $20,000, $30,000 or whatever. So it's like taking money from rich people, I feel a little less bad about than like doing advertising. Like, I think if some rich person who has a guilty conscience wants to give a cooperative a bunch of money with no strings attached, I don't know. Doesn't seem like the worst use of money in the world right now.
That's a good
but
point.
that has never really happened for us. Also,
Yeah.
it feels like you're always like, there's got to be like some rich guy out there who's like feels bad, and I've yet to find him. So
Because he doesn't.
I think that's the reality. I've met with like so many people like that who will like cold email me and be like, "I'm rich and I love what you're doing," or whatever. And then they'll like pitch me on like, "Okay, I want to give you $1 million to make a show about me." It's like, okay. Like, there was a lot of that at the very beginning of Means TV of like people in their 60s and 70s being like, "I love what you're doing and you should make a documentary about me that I'll pay for."
And I need you to explain why I was in the Epstein files and why.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to uncover. Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's totally fine that I was in there. Nothing. I never went to the island. Just shook his hand at a gala. Yeah, whatever. Pop. The money and advertising part is difficult because there was a moment where, especially with our audio views, we were eligible for a few people that were throwing out money. A lot of these, for those that don't remember, around 2020, 2021, there was an explosion of direct-to-consumer companies like Peloton. And a lot of these people were advertising to cats that had podcasts and hey, we're going to give you $1,000 a month or something to read this ad for so many months. But you had to meet a criteria for them, right? And we're meeting some criterias. And so I was looking into advertising with Magic Spoon because I knew people that were doing
the protein cereal.
And I just heard the ads, and people I knew were doing the ads. And then I was like, well, I would love to make this extra money because I could afford to do this and I could afford to do that, right? Because when we hear extra money, we don't think, oh, I'm going to go buy a new wardrobe. It's, okay, now I can do this extra thing with the show and I can get over this magical hump that I think there is in my head. And I went to go look up how much it cost. And it was like, at the time, they weren't in stores. So it was like a serial service, which I thought was tarded. And I'm like, and it was like $60 or $70 a week or something like that. And I was like, there's no way in the world I can read an advertisement to the people that watch my fucking show and say, hey guys, there's a cereal service and I eat it too. I don't care.
And you're excited about it. You're like, guys, I don't know if you've heard about this incredible product that they send cereal to your door. Okay. I love it. Everybody here at the show loves it. There's just this, it's like, I also think you have shame, like a healthy amount of shame, like I would feel embarrassed a little bit if I'm like, hey guys, thanks so much for watching, like you have to check out the new Peloton that's $18,000. Yeah. Like it's revolutionized my fitness. And I think that there was this like vibe in culture of like shaming celebrities for doing ads that used to be a little bit more of like come on, man. It's like it reeks of like it's like pathetic to see like Brad Pitt do a commercial. It's like you're good, dude. You don't need to do this. Like
they don't
you got
go
the
to
bills
Japan.
paid.
No, done.
And I do think that we need to bring that back as a culture of like absolutely clowning on celebrities when they do commercials and just like calling them names, bullying them, like shaming them for it, you know. I think that's like healthy and good. I think one of the few exceptions is like a Billy Bob Thornton commercial because he's like in gambling debt. I kind of think that's funny, you know, when it's like when it's clear a celebrity is like owes somebody money and they're like doing an ad begrudgingly. That's like very classico, you know, Hollywood. I get that's kind of funny. But everything else, it's like, you know, have some self-respect, man, you know, not to you, but just when you're like a 100 millionaire and you're talking about Capital One cards and how fucking awesome they are. It's like, grow up, dude. You know, what's going on? Like,
it's a different world. When I was coming up, I didn't know about all these actors that were going to Japan doing commercials because there was no internet for us to see them. And unless you had like a satellite but what was that movie Lost in Translation? I think that's the first time a lot of us found out about this thing for actors at a certain point in their career going overseas and advertising products. And now, and Emily Topping, one of the editors at Current Affairs, was on the show talking about this because she wrote an article for Current Affairs magazine about this. Selling out is kind of part of the model, which makes this world that we're in, I think, so interesting because people are so quick to do it. Because I don't think people understand selling out anymore because it's just so baked in that people don't call people sellouts anymore. Like that's just a dead ass terminology.
Yeah, no, we're in the hustle and grind era where it's like, I'm trying to sell out as soon as I possibly can do it. Like I'm trying to go to Costco and like buy a bunch of, you know, ass wipes and then sell them on eBay for like 10 cents more. And like, you know, I'm trying, you know, it's like some of that stuff that happened during COVID of just people like hoarding, you know, I feel like you see it all over social media with like people buying every Pokemon card in a store and then going around and selling it. And it's like when you lose any sense of community, which we've lost in America, there's nobody to like check people and be like, what the fuck are you doing? You're being so selfish and like, you know, you're a vending machine mogul and you're buying Coke from Walmart and then you're putting it in a vending machine and making $1 and you're talking about like you know, what is it, the income you make when you're not like working for it, passive income, and you're like a passive income guru. It's like, man, you need like a neighbor to like see what you're up to and just say like, man, that sucks, dude, you know.
Like chill out, dude. You're the vending machine guy. You want to hear something? You want to hear something really fucking? Right before I got on the show, a buddy who's a basketball coach at Oakland High sent me this video, and he texted me and he goes, "This is how bad Oakland High versus Oakland Tech basketball has gotten." And I thought he was going to show me a video like kids fighting or parents fighting, which, you know, I would have appreciated. And and it was
classic.
Yeah. It was a video of a man upset. Dig this, because someone bought all the tickets to the game and was the high school basketball game and was selling them for $40 a piece.
That's like that big picture thinking, dude. That's like the era of the entrepreneur, you know. It's like everybody's broke. Yeah. Like everybody's completely financially destitute. So we're all bragging about how like our different schemes to buy up all of the local high school basketball game tickets and then sell them for a premium. It's like we built a scam economy. Everybody's financially destitute. And then we're surprised when our culture is like totally just different multi-level marketing schemes stacked on top of each other.
I mean, I read an article today about a woman that was in a band in the 80s called Femme Fatale. You don't know who they are, and if you say you do, you're lying. And
I'm Googling them.
Yeah, you're gonna Google. I was gonna say you do not know who they are. Anyone watching or listening right now, if you guys tell me you know who they are, I'm gonna believe you're liars as well. And they're older, but whatever. And one of the singer in the band is on OnlyFans now. And the article was like about, oh no, where did he go? He disappeared. Who zapped him? I was just talking to him. That's the last time I mentioned a fucking 80s hair band. The fuck? Jesus.
I got so offended about this band. No, I clicked a button. My bad.
I was like, oh shit, he's really, how dare you talk about
what's over next? It.
You're gonna go after Vixen?
No, but sorry. So you were saying that the lead singer has an OnlyFans. Go on.
She had an OnlyFans, but the way the article was structuring the OnlyFans, it was about economics and making good fiscal decisions. And it wasn't about kind of a fledgling person having a fledgling career and a lack of opportunity, a lack of a social safety net, and this far into your 60s where you're supposed to be kind of winding down, you have to wind up in a way. And this is not the first article I've read about older women past the age of 60 and 70 on OnlyFans who were kind of forced into it. And the articles are not, sad and dystopian. They're kind of fun. And look, Nana's sucking a whole bunch of strange cock, and that's totally cool. I'm like, I mean, if Nana just wants to suck strange cock, I guess, but I'm sure she didn't want to video it for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to parse. It's like there's certainly stuff like that going on in the like OnlyFan world and whatever. And like there's like there's also the very tired narrative of like all sex work and whatever is like thrust upon people and they have no agency in it. But I mean, I think that when you talk about that, what comes to my mind is this like just I've seen it with multiple men in my life, like of like just you're pushed out of your career. Like once you're like 52, if you were a company man, you were a good employee, like your boss is going to start to realize that I could pay what I pay this guy who's been here forever. I could pay 2 20-year-olds to do his job and it would be cheaper. And you just see a lot of like 50-year-old men and women getting shit canned and being surprised by it, like thinking that they're loyal, to their employer, that they'll reap the benefits of that later. And then you're suddenly out of a job at 52, 53, or whatever, 60. You're 15 years away from retirement. There's no social safety net. It's like, yeah, then you're suddenly doing gig work, or you're doing like online stuff like OnlyFans because there's nothing else really for you to do. And yeah, that's very bleak. It's just the gig online economy stuff is very bleak.
Yeah, being forced into doing stuff you don't want to do, whether it's sucking strange cocks or driving people around in your car, you're forced into doing shit like that you don't want to do. Susan Powder, and again, another name that if you told me you knew who she was, I'm like, you're lying son of a bitch. You're too young to know who Susan Powder is. But she was this woman that had a series, a video cassette series called Stop the Insanity, and it was about weight loss. And then she had a talk show, and she was like a motivational speaker. And then she just went away, right? That's what happens to all these people. You get really famous and then you just go away. And she showed up last year, year before last. Someone recognized her, I don't know how, recognized her dropping off a DoorDash order. And she was like, yep, I lost all my money. I was living in my car for a while. I drive DoorDash. Apparently, recently, she's finally done with DoorDash, and Jamie Lee Curtis found her and made a documentary about her, and she's wrote a book and kind of on the comeback. But it's scary.
You're not safe no matter what. Like you could be like, I'm gonna be a fucking dentist, and it's like you could be out on your ass. Like you could be a beloved household name, but maybe it turns into kind of a flash in the pan situation, and it's like you didn't make enough money to retire on, and yeah, it's just we just live in a very undignified society in terms of just expecting people to figure it out, even so late in life, where it's extremely challenging for a person that, in their late 50s or 60s to like know how to use the latest technology or understand where the culture's at or whatever. And it's like just forcing them into the workforce, grinding out like every little bit we can from them. It's very dark.
Yeah, I mean, I was even thinking about it because you're joking about 52, you motherfucker. I'm almost there. It's right around the corner for me. I'll be 49 in August. But I was,
you look great.
Gracias. It isn't lost on me that you can't do certain things forever. And I don't have, again, small businessman. I don't have a savings account. I don't have anything to look forward to in that regard. And when you do this work, sometimes it can be this is my year, right? We got some good shows, and then this is gonna go viral, and then I'll get out of that hole. It's like, oh man, I've been digging this hole for the last 40 years. I'm not getting out of this shit. I'm just gonna die on air. That's just the goal, I guess. Do this long enough. Just good night. And that's just what it is.
I feel like we've had years at Means TV where it's like a real struggle where we've like maybe not hit projections that we needed to hit or like didn't grow at all. And, that is a real bummer and a real challenge. And then you get into a period like we've been in the last year or two where it's like things are going really well. We're growing, and it's like you're like, I'll believe it when I see it. Even if it's like the numbers are like right there in front of you, you're like emailing the bookkeeper and you're like, there's no way this is wrong, right? And it's like, yeah, I do think it's like part of me wants to say that the left and like the cooperative economy specifically needs to be delivering on providing some safety net things for people like who work in this space. And like the cooperatives are businesses made up of sometimes hundreds of people, and obviously those jobs are good paying jobs. They often have good benefits, but it's like, what can cooperatives do more broadly to try to deliver on some of the things that society and the government is not willing to provide at this stage in America? And maybe it's too early, to really be doing that kind of stuff. Maybe it's not. And maybe it's also just unrealistic to think that, a small subsector of the economy, which is the cooperative economy, maybe 1% of the revenue is like enough of a piece of the pie that it could build out supportive structures for people. But like, I feel very much that like Means TV, any success we have as a cooperative, I want to use to help launch or build other cooperatives that employ people or offer people a way out of the like traditional workplace into a cooperative. And I think that all cooperatives should be really trying to do that. Like, how can we see a need or see like a corporate monopoly or stranglehold on some product or service that we use as a cooperative? And then how do we invest in a cooperative alternative to that service or that vendor or that product, so that not only are we like potentially lowering our cost because it's no longer a monopoly, but we're also investing in building out a totally separate cooperative entity that provides people with jobs and benefits and things like that. So,
well, in the end, is Means TV about building an alternative platform or about rehearsing an alternative way of organizing life under capitalism?
I think it depends on who you ask. It Means TV, which is fine. I think we have members and creators who are very much in the granular of like how do we take this system down? What does it look like to build something new? I think there's other people in the cooperative that are looking at it as like, how do we make this the most successful thing it can be, so that we start changing minds, or we feel like we have a greater impact on the culture and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I would say it's probably depends on who you ask.
Well, what is the next big thing you guys have brewing at Means TV that you're excited about before we let you go?
I mean, we have lots of really great creators that are lined up to join the platform, and I feel like we've seen a lot of success with the revenue sharing model that we've built out with creators. Like, we originally were just a film streaming platform, and about a year and a half ago, we developed with some different YouTubers and podcasters like a framework and a model for trying to bring in YouTubers and these creators who are like in a very precarious position in terms of the media landscape, because they are working for themselves. Like, they have a completely self-managed audience. They're often beholden to like Google platforms and the advertising that's run on those things. And at any point in time, they can have their platform taken away.
Mm-hmm.
The algorithm can change, and suddenly they're not making nearly as much money as they were. And so they have to lay people off or whatever. And so we wanted to try to bring those types of people into the co-op and also make sure that they were seeing like a solid revenue stream from that partnership. And I think we've seen really good indicators in that way. And people, the creators who've joined seem happy with the way things are going, and new people are wanting to join, which is great. And then I think that this year is shaping up to be like our biggest original content year in terms of development. So usually we have one or two original content projects that we're producing during a year. And I could see this year becoming like a 5 or 6 project year, just because there's a bunch of great things that people have brought to us, or we've been able to pursue and make happen. And so that's a significant investment, but I think that it's also delivering on some of the early promises of Means TV, which is that we want to produce like high quality original content through this cooperative model. And so, like I said, we have a puppet kid show that is in post-production that I think is going to be excellent. Like, has tons of original music and is really great. And we're in development on a few documentaries that have like undercover footage from different I don't know how much I should say, like workplaces, like undercover footage from like workplaces and warehouses about working conditions. And we're also looking at trying to do stuff that's a little more broad appeal, like maybe some food content, some travel content, stuff like that. So yeah, I think this is shaping up to be a year of creating a lot of really exciting original content at Means TV.
If we gave you one sports show a week, but we made sure before we gave it to you that we didn't have the insane amount of little people porn or Prison Connect photos, would that be okay?
I think so. Sounds like it. We'll offline about it. Overall, I'm interested. We've tried sports shows. We did a whole original sports show it just couldn't find an audience. So look, I'm open to it. I watch football. I like sports.
If you saw our, we talk sports and then we just fall off a cliff.
I've seen a few of them.
Okay. Nick, thank you for taking the time to talk with me and tell Naomi I said hello, and I appreciate you guys more than you know, and I'm giving you a massive hug from Mexico. You people allowed my little bit of video essays that I made to get to a much wider audience. So that means the world to me. So,
well, we really appreciate you too, Jason. And yeah, it's always a pleasure talking with you. So thanks for having me on. And thanks to all the people out there who put up with me.
All right, brother. Have a good night. Thank you, Nick.
Take care.
Nick Hayes of Means TV. If you guys want to check out Means TV, if you use the discount code, This Is Revolution, all one word and all caps, you get a 20% discount, and you get to see all the video essays. I pulled them off this channel, put them all on Means TV. Kayfabe never aired on this channel. It was exclusively for Means. So all the stuff I'm doing forward as far as video essays will be on Means TV exclusively. And I feel good about that. It's they're good people. I actually enjoy the meetings. I learned a lot from, because there's some really big YouTube people that I have Means TV channels, and they have some really good advice as well. And again, like I said, Nick and Naomi are just really, really, really decent people. That being said, I just looked down at a comment, and the comment says, "Sucking cock is better than driving people around in my car." You say that now till you're face to face with the dick. It's a whole different conversation when you're face to face with it. It's all yucks until you're eye to eye with that guy. Anton says, "Yeah, I hear that." And also, shout out to Sam Sachs, the newsman on Means Morning News. Oops, yes. Sam Sachs is a genius. Just like, what's that guy's name? It's kind of a douchebag. Tim Pool. Sam Sachs is on those meetings, and they're like Zoom calls, so you can see everybody, right? And he does a one-shot thing, and he wears a shirt and a tie. I wouldn't be surprised if he has the whole suit pants thing on underneath. He seems like a serious individual. But when you see him from another angle without that on, you don't know who the fuck the guy is. He can walk around all day. No one knows who the fuck he is. I was like, genius. Tim Pool takes off that fucking beanie. You don't know who the fuck he is. You know why? He looks like every other white man. You could be sitting right next to him at a TGI Fridays. You would never fucking know. Sorry. Buffalo Wild Wings. But thank you guys. I'll see you guys Saturday. I'll be here with Ralph Leonard. And we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about why Britain shouldn't adopt U.S. identity politics. And Ralph also wrote something on Noam Chomsky and Jeffrey Epstein. I thought everybody was done with that. But my fucking God, you people really do get erect talking about that 150-year-old man. My goodness. Erect. Stiffies. I keep looking down and reading you guys' comments. I haven't looked down and read comments like this in a long time. But let's go. I have lots of writing to do. We have some interesting movies coming up for movie night too. There's going to be a few serious ones and a few not so serious ones. And one of the not so serious ones, because it's Black History Month, I figured let's watch black movies. Let's watch black movies that I'm going to choose. And you don't tell me, you know what black movie we should watch? Fuck your black movie. We're watching the black movies I say we watch, goddammit. Okay? And we are watching The Last Dragon. I just got to find out where I put it. All right. Thank you guys. And we are out.